Hi. So today I'm going to grab something like a chair or a stool. And this could also be your bed or your couch, but something that acts like a seat that you can have close to your yoga mat. It's going to be a key part of our practice. So go ahead and either pick something up and bring it to your mat or slide your space towards the edge of that couch or bed. And we'll use that in just a little bit, but I want us to start out on our backs. We're going to prepare the posterior hips. So I'm sorry, the anterior hips. So the front of the hip compartment, which sometimes we refer to as hip flexors, for some lengthening, which we don't always do because we're often sitting in flexion like I am now. If you're in your chair, if you're in your car, even if you're riding your bike, there's a lot of flexion happening, that crease of the hip flexors. So we're going to open that up today in a lot of different ways. So this is one key prop, and then other key props would be blankets and pillows to support this practice. So when we come to our backs, we're just going to keep a bend of the knees and a crossing of the shin bones or the ankles, kind of like as if you were sitting cross-legged, like crisscross applesauce, just like an easy cross of the shin bones. And pay attention to which shin you have in front. Right now I have my right shin in front of my left shin, and I'm just gently crossing the ankles. That can be a lot on hip flexors if they're tight. So you can take some wadded up pillows or blankets or towels even, and just kind of slide that underneath the outer edges of the knees, just like you would in Supta Baddha Konasana. Put your arms out, slide your shoulders down your back. We'll settle in here for a few minutes. So we've been starting to add to our physical practice the breath work and the meditation. Sometimes we do it at the beginning and end, but what I'd like to build towards is always coming into this mindset of closing out our practice with the meditation and the breath at the end. Because after all, this is what the practice of yoga, the physical practice of yoga, the asana that we do, is for, to prepare the body for a seated meditation. Take a few moments here to notice how you feel today. Notice the breath. Even notice the mental chatter. Not that you're trying to stop your mind from thinking, because really that is the function of the mind. It's just doing its job. But rather that you're just not really attaching yourself to your thoughts as something that are absolute truths, but maybe noticing from an objective, if you could take a bird's eye view, kind of look down at yourself and view your thoughts from an objective point of view, kind of considering, oh, that's interesting. What an interesting thought. So we're just going to switch out simply the cross of the shin bones. You can stay on your back if you want. You could hug your knees into your chest, just kind of find that neutral position for a few moments. Maybe lengthen out through the legs if you need to give them a little stretch. And then when you're ready, so this opposite shin, for me that's my left shin in front of my right, is in front now. letting the knees go wide. And the soles of the feet, there's no goal to get them to touch. Again, we're just kind of, it's like we sat down cross-legged and then we rolled onto our backs. A little bit different than Supta Baddha Konasana. You might notice there's a difference between right and left side. There usually is some sort of asymmetry in the body. It's very normal. We have a dominant side and a non-dominant side. For most of the things that we do in our life physically, this is true. Be here for about 1 more minute. Release out of this shape. You can do anything you want. You can hug your knees in, you can stretch your legs out, you can kind of rock side to side, maybe even happy baby. We'll make our way up to just a very brief seat so that we can set up our next shape. We're going to come into a wide-legged low lunge. So this is where we're going to utilize that chair, stool-like, bed, couch, whatever it is, prop. So make sure that if you have a wheel or if you have a chair with wheels on it, it's not going to roll away on you. It's on a sturdy surface, or there's something behind it that is going to prevent it from moving away from you. And that's about like as you come up to it, hip height. You're just going to use this to rest your arms on or your forearms. And then you might want to pad the knees. If you're on the hard surface of the floor, certainly I recommend it. So I'll start out in tabletop, high tabletop. So you can place your hands on your prop, step one of your feet forward and make sure that foot's wide outside. If you're on a chair, this is easier to discern because I can simply place my foot outside of the chair leg. But if you're looking at your standing knee back behind you, you want your knee to be kind of off to the side of the foot that's forward. So I even will turn my toes off to the side. And then you can stay up on your hands. You can walk down to your forearms just for a moment. Let's tuck the back toes under, lift the back knee and wiggle that foot back and then set it back down so you have a nice long back leg. Maybe in this shape a little bit longer, about 3 minutes here. So go really slow with it. Don't feel like you have to find your furthest range of motion right away. I like to think of restorative shapes as progressive. I start off shallow and then my body tells me when I want to go a little bit deeper, when I want to remove a prop, or when I want to kind of sink a little bit more into my chest, get a little bit lower. So I'm not forcing it, but I'm taking it super slow and I'm listening to the signals of my body. Pay attention to your breath, especially if this is really intense through that hip flexor of the back leg. Can you breathe a little bit slower, a little bit deeper? Just a few more breaths here. If you're down on your forearm, start to walk your way back up onto your hands and then gently move your hips back over that standing knee. You might even lengthen out that front leg. And then you can send that front leg back. If you want, you could come into a tabletop here or just drape your forearms, your elbows on top of your prop. And let your chest rest, your head rest between your biceps. Okay, and then we'll set up for our second side. So we're going to bring that opposite foot forward, step it a little bit wider, turning the front toes out to the side. Curling the back toes under, lifting the back knee, wiggle that left leg or whichever leg is back a little bit longer and then set it back down. And again, here we're starting off shallow. So maybe a little bit higher in the torso. Maybe you stay upright on the hands for these first few moments, few breaths. Get that hip flexor used to the idea that it's being stretched because again, it's probably not a normal sensation for that hip flexor. And take your time. If you're going to come a little bit deeper, let your body guide you in that. So move with the flow of the body instead of resisting it. You're going to know if you're resisting because tension's going to build around the neck, the shoulders, the jaw. See if you can soften those places. And the breath can start to move a little bit more freely and easily. Eventually, maybe the chest might come down towards your prop. Maybe you're down on your forearms. Few more breaths here. All right, and we'll slowly come back up. If you're down on your forearms, come back up to your hands. Take your time on the exits. Really important to be really mindful and gentle on your exits. After long holds like that, you can move the hips back towards that standing knee, maybe lengthen out through the front leg. Send that front leg back. Maybe a few rounds of cat-cow, or even kind of like that heart melting. Head relaxes between the biceps. All right, so our next shape is gonna really vary widely depending on range of motion in the knees, most likely, and ankles, which is where I really want you to think about starting. Again, shallow, and then incrementally let the body deepen. Try not to force this. So the idea first is that the ankle can come to flat and my toes can point straight back behind me. So you can see that my ankle is relatively flat. And then you can get an idea of this by just sitting back on the heels. If you're able to do that with your body weight on your heels, probably okay to move deeply into this shape. Same thing to this full flexion of my knee joint. This feels okay for me. You know, I don't think I sit here for very long, but it feels okay to me for right now. So those are some key indicators that you want to pay attention to, what's happening in the flexion, extension of the ankle bone and the knee. And so I'm going to turn around. So my back is to my stool. I'm going to straddle this little cushion here with my ankles. Okay, and then I'm going to take 1 foot forward. So again, we're working with the hip flexor, opening that hip flexor. So this foot, the toes are pointing straight back behind me, and I'm moving my body weight towards the inner edge of the ankle. So I'm not sitting on the ankle, I'm sitting just inside of it. Now, if it's wise to do so, you could lean back on your prop that's behind you. Let it help you to sit up and relax in your upper body. And again, I have this lift underneath my sits bones, so my weight doesn't have to come down to the floor. I'm bringing the floor up to meet me. So this is one option. Okay, and those of us that have a lot of range of motion in our knees and our ankles, you might even scoot forward. You could scoot away from that stool and then come down to your back, resting on a cushion. If that's a little bit too much for my knee, then I'm going to sit back up. I'm going to roll to that bent knee leg, sit back up, and then prop something underneath the sits bones. So you're just adding a pile of pillows, blankets, blocks, books, whatever it is that you need behind you to make this something that you can sustain for a period of time. We're going to be here for a couple of minutes and then we'll switch sides. My chair is moving out from behind me, which is okay because I've got enough support underneath my upper back that I can sustain this. So just, again, notice what kind of support your body needs and give it that. The strategy here is to pile as many pillows, couch cushions underneath the upper back, underneath the elbows, if you're leaning back on your elbows, to allow the ankle and the knee to find that range of motion first. And then you can think about laying back. So you work from shallow towards that next layer of depth, towards that next layer of depth. letting your body unwind on its own. About 1 more minute here. All right, so if you're all the way on your back, take your time, go slow sitting up. If you're back on your forearms, your elbows come up to your hands. So you just reverse out of this one step at a time and roll to the leg that's not in this fixed firm position. Roll to that hip and then slowly let that leg that you had bent back straighten out in front of you. And then both legs can straighten out. You can kind of shake out the legs. Now we're going to do the second side, and right side and left side, especially when we're talking about knees and ankles. If you've ever had injuries on one side or the other, the second side might need something totally different layer of support. It might be way more flexible. So just being mindful of the differences in your body and the different level of support. Again, you're working first with getting that ankle flat, those toes pointing back behind you. And you're sitting inside of the ankle, so there's no weight on the ankle itself. Once the ankle is towards flat, and maybe this is where you're working today, you're just kind of leaning back on your hands. Your hands could be resting on the couch behind you, the bed behind you, the chair, whatever it is. Working with that ankle and appropriately propping something underneath the sit bone so you have enough space for your knee. Starting shallow. The body tells you to go deeper. You might walk back onto the forearms. So you have time here. Try not to be in a hurry to find the next step, but be with your body where it is and appreciate it for where it is. That you're able enough to come to this practice. That you've been able to carve out this space and time. Take about 1 more minute here on this second side. Let's take 1 more breath. If you're all the way on your back, incrementally make your way up to your elbows. And then your hands roll to that opposite hip. Slowly let that bent knee go straight. Both legs can go straight. You can shake out your legs. We're going to head into our Shavasana now. We'll take about a minute or so for Shavasana, and then I'll invite you to join me for our final seated meditation with a little bit of breath work to end our practice. So heading into your Shavasana, support your body in any way you want. You can take your legs up and over that prop you were using, over the chair, up the wall if you want. Just let it be supported, whatever the shape looks like, let it be supported. Spread the shoulders down the back, slightly tilt the chin in towards the chest. Take up a little bit more space on your back, legs a little bit wider, arms a little bit wider. Deep breath in through the nose. Open your mouth, exhale. Let it go, let it rest. Shavasana, 1 minute. Start to slowly bring movement back to the body. You stretch your arms over your head if you like. Start to make your way towards fetal position for a moment. And then working up to a seated position. We've been working with the breaths in Nadi Shodana, which is alternate nostril breathing. We're going to continue with that work today. Practice is so important. And when I say practice in this sense, I mean the repetition of something like the meditation and the breath, so that you really get that visceral, embodied experience of it. And then the benefit starts to come. Okay, so Nadi Shodana, your dominant hand, you raise it up, index finger, middle finger to the palm, thumb and ring finger to the crescents of the nose, just very gentle. Elbow draws in, shoulder relaxes, and chin slightly tilts in. Breathe in through both nostrils. Out through both. Gently close the left, inhale through the right. Gently close right, exhale left. Inhale left. Close left, exhale right. That's one round. We'll do 3 more. Inhale right. Close right, exhale left. Inhale left. Close left, exhale right. Inhale right. Close right, exhale left. Inhale left. Close left, exhale right. Last round, inhaling right. Close right, exhale left. Inhale left. Close left, exhale right. Release the hand, both hands just resting on the thighs or in the lap. Breathing in and out through both nostrils. Eyes closed. Relaxing the shoulders. Sitting up nice and tall with ease through the spine. Take a moment to scan the body from the crown of the head, down the spine, cooling the awareness in the pelvis. Nice. Last few moments here, watching the breath go in and out through the nose. Visualizing the breath move up and down the spine on each inhale and exhale. And close out our practice by joining the hands together at the heart, bowing the chin to the chest, taking a moment to honor your effort and your practice with reverence and gratitude. May you remember that you will always be okay. May you find a white light that guides you and keeps you safe. May you have hope, health, and happiness along the way. Namaste, yogis. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that was a nice practice for you. Just a reminder that I am leading a foundational yoga teacher training in 2023, beginning in January. There's details for that on my website, which is just my name, tessatovar.com. If you are interested, if you have questions, I'd love to hear from you. We have some free info sessions coming up in October, and the dates and the registration links are there for that. All right. Take care, everyone. Come back again soon. Be well.